Guys, welcome back to another episode of Truth Bump. We are rolling with a topic for today is the journey. And, this is quite interesting. It's probably not going to be what you think it's about. But obviously the journey is very important part of the process. And if you go back into the WTF work, the foundation of this work, and you re-listen to, why are you here? The whole idea of where do you come from, who are you and why are you here? When people ask that question, sometimes they confuse that question or allow them to get distracted with why did the infinite manifest this? Why is there duality? Why is there oneness? Why are we experiencing ourselves as a finite version of who we really are? Why is there separation? Why are we experiencing ourselves being separate? And I think, it's a very good question, but the answer to that question doesn't come to, why the universe is the way it is. The answer to that question is realized when you question for yourself and unravel why you're here. Because in realizing and having a direct experience of why you are here, the answer of why is there duality? Why am I experiencing limitation? Why am I experiencing separation? All those answers of why, some other entity, because that's what we're asking, right? It's like the big entity, the one, whatever you want to call it, me is the one or the universe. Why did it create this? The answer to that is realized when you come to have a direct experience and realize why you're here. So it's almost like you're deflecting when you're asking, why is this all happening? Why am I experiencing limitations? Why is the universe experiencing limitations and experiencing separation? Like all that is deflecting to really where you could actually realize the answer to that question. But the answer to that question can only be realized when you realize and you have a direct experience of why you're here. Now, to put it quite simply, there is many reasons of many reasons that you could drum up to why you're here. But ultimately, I think if someone asks me, it's to ultimately be the greatest version of myself. To be the greatest version of myself is the version that is complete, the version that is whole, and the version that is at home. Like that is, and in the WTF, I refer to that as being the one in a finite world, or being the one in duality. Being an infinite being in a finite world, I refer to it all the time. But that is when you're experiencing yourself as the one, but you're in the duality still. So you're still experiencing yourself in this physical reality. So you're still experiencing yourself in separation, but your mind is not. Your mind is not. Your mind is no longer imprisoned. And that's when you come to have a direct experience of having that realization that I am not my body. I am not my physical reality. And this body is the costume I'm wearing. And the costume is not who I am. It's what I'm using. Or it's the vehicle, the car that I'm driving. You are not your car. You drive your car, and you may look after your car. You may take pride in your car. Go for it, but it's not who you are. All right. So you're the driver of the car. So I think, to me, if someone asked me, well, why are you here? That is the answer that comes for me. And of course, you can, resonate with that answer. You can borrow that answer. You can lean on the answer by all means. But at the end of the day, everything that I'm sharing with you guys is for you to come to your own realizations and come to your own answer. Now, in the WTF, the big why is explained that the one, because, one of my favorite, it's not my favorite, it's one of the most common answers that people will come to. And I see this all the time. I see it in my seminars. I see people posting about it, on socials. And the answer is, to why is because the infinite, right? And whatever name you have for that is, you can use that, what name for it. The infinite, the universe, whatever you want to use. The infinite requires duality so it can experience itself as infinite. So it needs the duality to recognize and see itself as infinite. And it's just like, really? Like, you really think that? Like, if something's infinite, you obviously have no idea what infinite means or what infinite is, because you really think something that's infinite requires to see itself so it can recognize who it is? Like, come on, guys. Like, so, it's a common answer that people come to. And it's just, you're not pushing yourself. You're not really asking the question. You're just looking for a simple answer. And look, at the end of the day, no one really will know until they leave this physical reality, like, for sure, 100%. This is for the logical mind. The logical mind will never know. But the knowing comes from such a deeper place. And if you're looking to know for sure, for 100%, you want the facts, you want the proof, you want the science, you're never going to know until you're actually leaving your physical reality. But there is a knowing that we all get to experience. And there is this common thread, and it doesn't matter if you're spiritual or it doesn't matter your journey, where you are in your journey. But, well, it does matter where you are in your journey. And how am I trying to word this? What I'm trying to say here is that there's a common thread with people who have got to a place within their journey, and there's a common thread with the answers that people come to realize, come to have. And that is that I am not this body. That is that I don't die, and there's so much more commonality with those answers. But at the end of the day, a version of that answer I share in the WTF program. And, that, again, my work is all designed for you. It's intended for you to come to have your own realizations. But sometimes people, while they're arriving and collecting experiences in order for them to come to their own realizations, they lean or they borrow my realizations. And I'm more than happy to do that. But that isn't the answer. It's just one version of it. And the answer is always the one that you have the direct experience of. And again, when you have that direct experience, we find that our answers, or what you once borrowed of me, or what you once leaned on, I should say, has a common thread. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you find people, and it doesn't matter if it's my work or some other work, it's just, if you find someone who's got somewhere, who's found something, who's realized, who's dropped in, and you can tell, maybe you can't, I don't know, but I personally can tell when someone has dropped in, because you can tell when the answer is regurgitated because they read it and now they're delivering it, and it's almost like a parrot, right? You can tell when the answers are intellectual, analytical, versus the answers or the experience someone is sharing is completely, you can feel it's a direct experience of this, but you can also feel that it's coming from the unknown. And the unknown, it's there is a part of you. Again, what's the unknown? It's infinity, right? The unknown is because that's what makes something infinite. It's because it's all things are possible, and when all things are possible, it's all the unknown. There is not one certain possibility. And the moment it becomes one certain possibility, it becomes finite. It's no longer infinite. Just a reminder about that. But yeah. And anyway, I'm going on a tangent there, saying you can tell when it's regurgitated or intellectual versus it's coming from the unknown. It's an infinite possibility, and you can kind of feel, and that's why when I say in the WTF, guys, don't listen to what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is just a version of it. And if you're listening to what I'm saying, you're trying to intellectualize it. You're trying to create knowledge. You're trying to put it into your knowledge bank. And here I am trying to give wisdom, not knowledge. And wisdom is when you have had a direct experience of what you once knew as your knowledge. Knowledge is not power. Wisdom is, remember, it's wisdom that's power. And remember, wisdom is when you've had a direct experience of what you once knew as your knowledge. So here I am sharing with you guys in the WTF. I say don't listen to the words, instead listen to where the words are forming from, I say. What does that mean? Because it's forming from the unknown. And if you could feel, and I say, because sometimes people are like, what do you mean listen to the words and where they're forming from? It sounds very mystical. And I say, well, if that doesn't really resonate with you, or that doesn't really drop in, right? Just feel what I'm saying. Don't think about it. Don't try to put it into a box. And don't try to think to yourself, oh, that is this, and that goes into my religion, and that goes into my past beliefs, and that goes into the universal laws of attraction. Fuck it. Don't do that. Just listen and let the realizations just sit, and don't put it into a box. And that's what I'm saying. And what do I say in the WTF? I say, if you can do that, then you will realize what I'm saying for yourself. You'll realize that it's true, not because I'm saying that, but because you're feeling that. You're having a direct experience of what I'm sharing with you. You feel it. That's the truth bombs, by the way, when you feel it. You feel it. And when you feel it, you know it to be true because you felt it. It's right there is a direct experience. And guess why you feel it? Because it's coming from the unknown, and we are all connected. The unknown is the field. Right there, we are all connected. So it almost feels like you said it. I mean, I know it's coming through this guy who's sharing with you on stage, or he's sharing with you in front of a camera right now, or with a microphone. But it feels so familiar, like somehow you knew this. You knew this. It feels so true. Because that part of you does know this. And I don't even want to call if I can remove my, I don't know how to put this, but that is the forte. That is the art. I don't want to say it's my art, because it's not my art, and anyone has the capacity to do this. And I know this because I teach people to not listen to my words and listen to the words, instead listen to where the words are forming from, and they have this direct experience. I see this at the WTF. I see this at my Limitless events. I see that I see when I'm on stage. I see them, I can see their souls vibrating. It's resonating, and it doesn't matter what their background is. It doesn't matter what their journey is. If they can just stop trying to put it into a category or into a box, and stop trying to understand it, and stop trying to listen to the content, instead let the words just be formed, and let them be where they are. And that takes a huge amount of a level of presence. But I can see people do this, and I didn't know how to do this. It's just, this is something that I found myself doing when somehow, I mean, you've all heard the story. The very first talk I did, before it was called the WTF experience, it was called the Quest for Truth. And none of the content came to me, and I got frustrated, and I got angry with myself as the one. And I said, why would I feel to do this if nothing is coming to me? And it said, it will come to you when you're on stage. So if I didn't do that, if I didn't get up on stage and be prepared to have nothing to say, and be prepared to fall and burn, like be embarrassed, burn meaning embarrassed, because I, had nothing to say. Because that was the biggest fear in that whole process, because it's like, what if I get up there? Because I know I've got something to say, I can feel it, but what if I run out? What if I got nothing to say in the moment? But if I never did that, I never would have found the capability that I have in what I'm doing today. And that is speaking from the unknown. It sounds mystical. Maybe it is a little bit, but it's. I don't think it's special though. I think the experience is special, but I think it's a capability that we all have, because we are all souls. You're listening with your soul. I mean, how can you, we all have a soul. So we all have the capability of experiencing exactly what I'm just sharing with you guys right now. So look, I mean, we haven't even started talking about the journey, I just realized. But you see, I just show up, and before I know it, the feeling is taking me, and I'm sharing what I'm sharing. And, some people call that channeling. It's exactly the same. Some people call it, it's channeling. But it's speaking from the unknown. And for me, it's, don't get in the way of it, Amir. If it goes there, it goes there. But your intellect, or my intellect, will go, but I've got something to do here. I'm here to record the journey. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe that's later. So you see, you're seeing that right now. Just showing up in the moment, and before I know it, I'm answering a question that maybe you may have had, but it arose, and the question is, well, what is it? What's my answer of why I'm here? What's my answer? And I hope you got that. And if you didn't, you might want to go back and re-listen to what my answer was. But in answering what I answered to you, I also shared with you the art of coming from the unknown. The art, which is, again, coming from infinity, guys. Maybe if I say you're being infinite, you're coming from the infinite, it makes it more sexy. Makes it more, ooh, that's what I want. I don't want to come from the unknown. What's the unknown? It's the unknown. The unknown is the infinite. It's infinite because all things are possible. Anyway, so to me, the journey is one of becoming, and you are becoming either conscious or you are becoming more unconscious. There's just two real journeys there, and it just depends on why you're here. Like, and then this is you intellectually, even reasoning with yourself of why you're here. Are you here to awaken? And if you are, I mean, obviously, you guys, if you're listening to this, you are on a journey of becoming, and of becoming meaning becoming the greatest version of yourself. And that is always, and I say that a lot, becoming the greatest version. I mean, ultimately becoming the greatest version of yourself is becoming one. Becoming one, becoming the one. Okay? So, and to me, that's my role, and that's why I came here, and I started from a very young age, and before I even understood any of this stuff, before 11, 12 years of age. And then it just came to a point of me starting to understand it, and then starting to realize it, and then obviously I started to share it at some point. So that's the journey. I mentioned to you that there's people who are on the journey who to stay unconscious. Like, there is a part of them that is just not. This is not their path. This is not their journey. And that is required. It's not everyone's journey. And again, if I can give guidance or suggestions here, is to always make the journey about yourself. Not about, why did the one do this? Or why would this person not be on the journey of consciousness? I love them. So I want them to be on this journey of consciousness. It's not up to you. What's up to you is what's for you, right? And what's for you is got to do with your personal journey. It's not about someone else. And that's what, we continuously do that. We make it about some other entity, right? Well, why did the one do this? Well, again, I just shared that before. Don't make it about that. Make it about why you're here. And why isn't this person, or why isn't the whole world on the path of consciousness? Again, to realize the answer to that question, it comes down to you realizing why you on the journey of consciousness. Why are you here to awaken? And as you bring it back to yourself, you will have a direct experience of your own question. If I answered that question right now, it will never fulfill your yearning. Because, as I've said in the past, maybe you've never heard me say this, when you have a question that is not a yearning from the soul, you will find an answer, because whatever you seek, you shall find, they say, right? So there's whatever you're looking for, you're going to find an answer. But the difference between the answer that is intellectually motivated it has an agenda, it is intellectually driven, versus the answer that is a yearning from your soul. Like your soul, the yearning is from love, the real love. It's a yearning. That's the difference. I can use it. One's seeking, one's yearning. The one that's seeking for an answer will find an answer. But here's the thing. With that answer will come another question. And it feels like you never, ever get there. And that's why it feels like you never get there, because with every answer comes another question. Why is this happening? Who am I? If you're looking for that intellectually, you will find an answer. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. But I am not this body. If that's intellectual, it's not a direct experience. With that answer comes another question. You will never arrive. You know when you've arrived because when you commence to drop in and have a direct experience of those answers, you have no more questions. There's no answers in the world. The answers all within you. You will have no more questions. But when you are seeking for the answer, you will find it. You will work hard to find it, and you will find it. But with that answer comes another question. So that journey just continues itself, and it's intellectual. All right? And you never have the experience. You never feel like, I don't know, it's like the hand never fits the glove. And you try so hard, it's just never fits. Right? Or Cinderella, her feet never fits in the shoe, if you like that. So, yeah, there's a lot in what I've shared already. I would like to. My intention for this call, for this session, I should say, is to actually describe the journey to you. You know, what does the journey look like? And we go through different phases as we're going on the journey of self-realization. So as you are awakening, or as you are becoming, and again, what are you becoming? A greater version of yourself. And ultimately, you're becoming the greatest version of yourself, which is the most complete. It's the one that you feel at home. It's the one where finally that hand fits in the glove. It's like your soul finally fits in this body. The body is the glove. But until your soul is satisfied, until your soul has had the opportunity to be who it really became here to be, it always doesn't fit. And you know what it feels like when it doesn't fit? It's just like, something's still missing. Something's still not whole. Something is still not complete. And it doesn't matter about what you do. It doesn't matter what you've achieved. It doesn't matter what you know from your knowledge or what you've figured out. It's still not enough. Because it will never be enough until your soul is being given permission to be who it came here to be. And your soul's yearning is only yearning, make no mistake about this, to be limitless, to be infinite in the finite world. That is it. Okay? And again, that intellectually being infinite in the finite world means like, oh, I'm Superman, I can fly. No, that's not what it is, right? Physical reality will always be limited. It's your mind that begins to fly. It's in your own mind that you become free. Free your mind. That's where you become free. yes, then of course the physical reality will bend and reflect that freedom. But your freedom is not experienced in the physical reality. Your freedom is experienced in who you are. That's the journey. So I know this lands with you. I know, I know I'm speaking to the truth seekers, the truth yearners, I should say. The people who are really yearning. Because if you're still listening to these sessions and we're like 22, 23 episodes into it, I've got the people that are here to really do this work. I've got the people that have that yearning. Not this, just not the truth seekers, and they just want to find an answer so they can become more spiritual or grow themselves. And it's like we're growing with society. It's like, oh, I have more money, I have more credibility, I have more degrees, and and again, nothing wrong with any of that. But sometimes people use that just to grow their ladder. And then they realize that wasn't the answers for me. So then they start to grow the spiritual ladder. And it's all about knowing more than everyone else and being less reactive and starting to talk really calm. Again, nothing wrong with talking really calm, but not when you have a volcano erupting inside, and you have your nice calm voice, and you go, I'm so calm, I'm so spiritual, but inside I have a fucking volcano erupting. So, yeah, anyway, you get what I'm saying. So look, there is more for this conversation. So I think I'm realizing as I'm sharing this with you guys that we are going to split this into a part 2. And I would love for you just to either re-listen to what I've just shared with you as homework, even potentially revisit the WTF. Like if I've shared some of the things that I just referred back to the WTF and you go like, huh, did he say that? I don't remember that. I'd revisit the WTF, right? So someone always asks me, because I've had some people doing this work for many years, and some of them have done WTF many times. And I'm always telling people to revisit it, do it again. And someone always says, how many times should we do it before we finally... You do it as many times until you stop getting something out of it. Because I promise you, every time you revisit that program, and it's all there and it's in the coaching app, right? Every time you revisit that WTF, and soon I will be re-recording that. I'm inspired to be doing that, and it's re-recorded as the new program, which will be rebranded as Limitless. So I'm going to re-record it so you'll have the latest version. But there's always going to be the latest version of the WTF in the app. And yes, revisit it as many times until you no longer get anything out of it. Because every time you revisit it, sometimes people are like, did he even say that? And sometimes I've had the same version there for many years, and a lot of times I do. And they're like, I've been doing this for 1 year, and I revisited the WTF 3 times, and you keep changing the WTF. It's a different version. I'm like, I haven't changed it for 3 years. It's the same version. It's a different version of you. And you're like, did he say that last time? I'm just completely hearing something different now. It's a different version of you. You've peeled some layers back, and it's a different realization. And by different realization, what I mean by that is that it drops in at a much deeper place. And the deeper these insights drop in, the simpler it becomes for you to actually live it. Live it. You'll notice that you're actually living it naturally. You're not trying to live it. I know you're not trying to, people try to be positive and they go, I'm trying to be positive, and they have to apply it. You're not trying to apply it. You just notice, oh, I've changed. And you know you've changed because a story presents itself. And this comes around the journey as well. But a story always presents itself. And you remember how you used to see that story and how you used to react to that story, or how that story used to cause you to feel. And that feeling is no longer there, or that reaction is absent. And you're like, oh. And you realize it's the same story, but it's a different response. It's a different feeling. It's a different reaction. Like the reaction is no longer there. And you realize to yourself, oh, I've changed. That's how you realize your where you are in your journey. You see yourself progress. See, the thing is about the journey is that, in my experience anyway, is that I never woke up one day. I don't think I ever woke up and just went, wow, I've just dropped in. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, we could have these conversations. I could be live at a retreat with you or an event, or even having this conversation with you, and you're listening to this and you're like, oh, wow, I can feel that dropping in. Like it's you're having these realizations. But typically, we're talking about living this, and it's the story that presents itself, which is our reflection. And in the story, our mirror, we begin to see that I used to react to this and I'm no longer reacting. In fact, I'm completely not concerned. Whatever it be, you just notice that your experience of that story completely changes. And that is the only way you've realized that you become more conscious, you have awakened more, that you are becoming. Because otherwise you don't, in my experience, it's not like I wake up going, yeah, I mean, sure, you might wake up and go, I feel lighter, right? But it's something that happens in the story for you to be able to see that back. That's what I've personally experienced. So that's something of the journey. But look, guys, what I'd recommend is re-listen to the WTF, especially if there was parts of this that you were like, and when I refer to the WTF and you were like, I don't remember that at all. So then definitely that's a sign that you should re-listen to it. And you might re-listen to the WTF, or by the time you're listening to this, it might be called the Limitless program. But you might re-listen to this over the next few weeks. You don't need to squeeze it all in 1 week, because I'm going to be talking about the journey, and it's all going to be related to the WTF. I mean, everything I'm sharing is related to the WTF. That's not new, but it's going to really hit home, because there's a lot of things that I'm going to be referring to the WTF over this session. I know we haven't landed yet with the journey. I haven't even started the journey. I just shared a little bit just then. So I'm going to pick this up in our next conversation, in the next Truth Bump. So we'll just do a part 2. And between now and the next recording, and maybe the recording after that, just watch the WTF. Re-listen to what I just said to you in this Truth Bump, especially if you're like, no, I don't need to listen to the WTF. I just listened to it last week or whatever. And no, I related to all that already. I've done it many times. Re-listen to the recording of this and sit down with yourself and ask yourself, why am I here? Because I shared my answer, but I would love for you to ask that question for yourself and see what's there. Why are you here? Who are you? They're very, very, they're brothers and sisters in those 2 questions. Why am I here? Who are you? Who am I? But yeah, just for now, why am I here? That's the big one. That's what we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about the journey. So before we go any further, ask yourself, sit down and ponder and go, why am I really here? And see what comes to you. Okay? And if nothing really drops in, my question is, well, how did you feel about what I shared? Did that resonate? Lean on that. A lot of this, my role here is to guide people back to themselves, because that's what I've done. And I get people I don't give people the answers necessarily, but I let them lean on it, lean on my certainty, lean on my conviction, lean on my version of the truth. Lean on it until your version is there for you to have a direct experience on. So that's the homework. And I'll see you guys next week.